and live your life today. It doesn't matter what they say.
Okay, we are live in Red Lotus Life with Pat Newton. And I am just so excited right now. Oh, it looks like Sarah Hoffman has joined us and she's saying hello. Hi, Sarah. So I would like to introduce this amazing woman to this group. Many of you already know her. Many of you have worked with her and also have seen the very first Lotus Live that I ever had in this group, called The Energetics of Disease, that she did an amazing, amazing job with. I'm super excited because Patricia Newton, I call her Pat, has now written a book. This has been a long time coming, and it's called The Journey to Magnificence. And that's why we're here tonight, is to talk about this. But I wanted to introduce you in a way of, you are one of my, I have a little bit of COVID fog, brain fog here. So I'm just kind of telling the group that. So they're like, what's going on with Lori? But really it's, you are one of my, like, I am so honored every single time I get to talk to you, because you are one of my mentors and have been for a few years now. You are like this walking encyclopedia of so much knowledge on so many levels. And you're so heart-centered and always here to serve others. So before you say anything, I would like to talk, or to kind of give a little bit of a list of your background. And this is only this much of your background, but I have on here master healer and teacher, an RN, you're a nurse, you have extensive medical experience in different kinds of hospitals. I know you and I talked about mad cow disease at one point, the first case of mad cow disease. Complementary therapies, spiritual and esoteric knowledge. You're an advanced spiral practitioner. You are Reiki, you are EFT, kinesiology, aromatherapy, matrix repatterning, quantum repatterning. I mean, that's just a tiny bit of your knowledge, like a tiny, tiny bit. And I'm always so honored to be able to spend any time with you, to share any time with you, because you are just this like wealth of knowledge. And so the fact that you've written a book now, to actually leave it in writing and leave a legacy, is, I'm just like so excited. I'm so excited that this is coming out. So I'll just kind of turn the time over to you. Like, is there something that you wanted to talk about that I didn't just now? Something that, because I know there's so much.
Well, yeah, I suppose I've always had this quest to pursue knowledge, which is the sage archetype. I live with archetypes. I've got them all around the house.
Yeah. If I want to know anything archetype, I always go to you first.
Yeah. And it's like when I was converting an old tin shed, 75 square, into a studio, and it took me 2 years, and I'd be on my knees saying, oh, I can't do this, it's too hard, trade is not going on, or whatever. I thought, no, night on a mission, don't stop till you've got the Holy Grail. These inspired me to keep going. So I suppose I've had this thing in me from being a little kid, always wanting to know why something happens. As DeMartini would say, it's not the how, it's the why. Why did that happen? But then don't dwell on that. Utilize what you discover to help you get, either convert, change your life, fix whatever it is that's stopping you from in your tracks. But if people are talking knowledge based, you must be able to ask why, because that's a research component, isn't it? And I suppose the last 2 years, because I did 2 shamanic groups I attended online. One was the Crone, and one was the Divine Feminine, the Mary Magdalene and all that. And one of the questions was, what do you live for? And I went, truth. What would you die for? Freedom. And I thought, oh my God, the last 2 years we haven't had any of that. So that made me then sit down and think, I think it's time to do the book. I've been putting it off for at least 6 years, probably longer.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't tell everybody where you're based out of. That might help a little bit, because you're right. That truth and that freedom has not been there for you.
Yeah.
So you're in Brisbane?
I'm in Brisbane, yeah, Australia, Queensland. So we're 11 when you're 6 p.m. there, it's 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so, yeah, I mean, I will check in with you all the, well, you're really good with sending me what's happening. And I love it when you're sending me like a video. I'm on my way to a protest, I'm on my way to do this and that. I was like, yeah, this is you. This is who you are.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's like, I can't stand unethical behavior, and I can't stand, look, when I started nursing, a different lifetime ago, totally different lifetime ago, all the women that were in nursing were ex-army, and they were very cruel and very severe. And I went in like tender, gentle, very feeling, and they don't value. You weren't allowed to feel, and you weren't allowed to talk emotions. And I've put that in the book, like feeling was viewed as a bad thing. You were meant to be. Nurses eat the young, that's an expression. And I always hated it. And it's like, I feel, unless you can't feel something in you, you don't know if it's real. You guess with your mental body and make decisions from your mental body, and that'll just lead you into more trouble over and over again. You've got to be able to feel and go and discern the truth, or have I got that wrong? Is my perception colouring my view? And then if you can't feel and you don't know it's real, you can never heal from it, because it's like a little thing that evades capture.
Yes.
It's like a will-o'-the-wisp, isn't it, that pops up now and again and then affects you, and you think, the hell, what brought that on? And then you go, hang on. So for me, it's like I see spirit, and I see in a person's body, I can see trapped energy. And I've done diagrams in the book of things. If people walk through my door, and oh my God, they've got like a collar there, so they can't speak the truth. They've got like a chastity belt, so there's some pushing and pulling there sexually, or, bands around the leg where they can't move forward. I see it all like shaded in the body. I see organs with shadows around. And I thought years ago, how the hell can I tell anybody this? I have to be credible. I'm medical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I actually have, it's not a question, it's more of a comment. So we have a few people that are joining us, and Kristen Atkins, she's a medical doctor here in the United States. I'm not sure if you know Kristen or not. But she says that her experiences so she works in a hospital, and she says her experiences with the nurses she worked with is different. So I would like to ask Kristen right now, like, what is that difference? Like, because you're talking about in the UK, right? Were you in the UK?
Well, that was a long time ago. Yeah. I'm retired. So I suppose I still think it's different though, because I taught students for 9 years. I used to do every facet of job in the hospital. I did nurse managing, I did education. I worked 15 years in palliative, death and dying. That's what switched me onto the mind-body connection. And I suppose my sadness that switched me on was mainstream doesn't look that your emotions create your illness. And that was the big thing for me.
Yes. Yeah. I remember the first time you were telling me about that mind-body connection, and how the more that you dove deeper into that mind-body connection is when all of this other developed, right? That's whenever you did.
Yeah.
I
started my own journey. Emigrated in 1988 to Australia. Thought this was England with sunshine. Got here, you've given your home, your jobs, all your family up, and your little kids and 2 suitcases, and you think, what the hell have I done? What's this about? And then I went into a grief, like everybody had died. And then it made me start questioning, how am I ever going to sort of get out of this? I went into a dark cave and thought, how do I get myself out of this dark cave? But again, your evolution, there can be no change without perturbation, where you kind of throw the jigsaw puzzle up, everything's scattered, you think, oh my God, can't do this. But at the end of it, when you do navigate and come through that like dark night of the soul, hero's journeys, you come out transformed.
Yes. Okay. So will you speak a little bit on that? Speak a little bit on first dark night of the soul, because I 100% agree. I also would like to say that because a lot of people in this group know who Dane is, because, you know, I talk about him quite a bit with being a spiral practitioner, but Dane Thomas, the creator of Spiral, this is his mother.
Mother of Spiral. They always introduce me as Mother of Spiral.
Yeah. Yes.
And
so
I go, no, I'm Mother of Dragons, Dane and Caroline. I'm like Daenerys in Game of Thrones.
Yes. Yeah. And so it like, you know, just to see like Dane and Caroline are both so amazing and have done so many, they've impacted this world. They really have. Both of them have impacted such a huge way. And so this is you, and your impact has been so huge as well. And I mean,
Well,
I can't tell you
yeah.
how many people you've impacted that I know of, and that's on a personal level. And so just on this large global level too, is I would like you to just, I guess, go into things and just start talking and sharing about what was your dark night of the soul? Like what?
How many of them? I said the book is about hundreds of like tsunamis, volcanoes, earthquakes, dark night of the soul journeys. It's like when I came here and I fell into like grief, apathy, what the hell have I done? I allowed my little innocent adventure child archetype to take me on an adventure, and she messed up my world. What was I thinking of to put my trust in a little child that has no fear of danger, that jumps on a plane, goes halfway around the world? I've done it before in search of a course. I've gone back to London, and when I've got there, I thought, I could run this damn course. It's cost me $10,000 and I know more than the person running it. And I think, what the hell led me here? That little kid, where I've got to hang out and have experiences. Even if you could do the training here down the road or I think, no, I want an adventure when I go somewhere. And that's the thing. I have to do something like in the book, I talk about Hansel and Gretel. And Hansel and Gretel are going through the forest, following the breadcrumbs, and they go into the cottage in the forest, and this big demon appears, and they're terrified. But then a wizard appears and turns the demon into a little fawn that hops off into the forest. Well, the metaphor really is your demons are the ones within you. We blame the ones external, but they are triggering your demons. And the demons really, if you then ignore it and then you go on other journeys, and every time you go into another cottage, the demon will be bigger, louder, more dangerous, because there's something bubbling, trying to come up to show you what you really need to do work with. And that's one of your dark nights of the soul. It's like read it. So I've been very facetious. I've made my chapters cauldrons. And that was my little kid going, go on, be a bit cheeky and like do what's not expected because you're medical. I've done research projects and I've done a lot of, I do quantum physics and I talk about atoms and molecules. Even in Reiki, I don't teach Reiki. I say what you're doing inside the body. So it's like I give people the science behind it, because I've always had to prove evidence-based. So I didn't get hung, drawn and quartered in this life.
Yeah. And this is actually why I love you and I like learning from you, because you do explain. I have that scientific mental mind, and I have that curiosity as well. And so when you're able to explain, like, not only is there the magics, the magic in the quantum realm and energetics of everything, there's also the science that
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, I've cultivated from the early 90s when I arrived in 88, and I thought, what am I going to do? I don't know if I can fit in. I don't know if this is for me. It's not what I thought. And then I kind of started going to psychology classes. Then I learned Reiki, because I thought I've got to start nurturing me and find a way through this black land in my mind where I've created, where nothing's as it seemed. It's like that's your illusion. It's like you create an illusion around people where you might build some person up and you've got them as your hero on like the night and with rosy glows, and then when they they fall, you have expectations and they don't meet them, you kind of then think, oh, he's in the pit. It's not really my hero. That was a myth that I created. And that's what we have to own. Often your perception is like what you think's happening, but doesn't make a belief is a sense of certainty. Doesn't mean it's true. But if you then run your world off dysfunctional beliefs, you're living in an illusionary world and nothing's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you're not, but you like Dane's book, clear your shit. I say people have to own the shit, because if you want to work with people and they don't become vulnerable and surrender, you can't. If they sit there like this, it's like they're blocking you. You cannot work with that person. And I might have tried years ago, but I've got, hey, I'm not a fucking dentist. I don't pull teeth. I need you to like open up.
Yeah.
I get people to write a trajectory, even if I'm only doing an hour, 2 hours, write a trajectory, dot point of the life, no matter what age. I'm not going to work with all that, but I look for repeating patterns. And then I massacre. I write all of, yeah, that's abandonment. That's poor self-esteem. And I write the patterns that have repeated. And I've put lots of this in the book, where made up story, supposing, your granddad died when you were 5. And then mum and dad had a split, and then something else happened. Your dog died, and then you thought, everything I love just abandons or dies or disappears. You can't hang on to it. It's not real, or it's not tangible. So then, when you get to like teenage and you start trying to romantic love, we know love's got 3: romantic, cosmic, and family love. You learn your romantic love from your family. So if that's screwed, you learn a screwed version of, oh, well, when you upset someone and they don't speak for 3 days, that's normal. That's what you do. You cast them out. So when you kind of get to making your own romantic relationships, and you've got all this fear that everybody I love dies, but you don't know it's there, subconscious, you can have the pushing and pulling where you're very clingy and it drives them mad, and they leave you for your best friend, and you think, there you go, I was right. Everybody I love abandons me. But you're unconsciously creating it. Mm-hmm. You weave in that magic of what you don't want.
Yeah. So you said this is in the book, right? You get deeper into the book. Yeah. What can people expect reading this book? Because I am excited for the book to be released. I think it's released, this weekend, right? Is that
Sunday. This Sunday, so it'll be like your Saturday PM, I think, won't it?
So I'm excited because that inner child that you say keeps leading you into these crazy adventures, I feel like she wrote the book. I feel like your inner child is going to be all over inside that book.
It is. And it's like the other archetype that's strong in me is the Iceni Queen Boadicea. She was only a teenager and she fought the Romans like 18. They killed her husband and children. And it's like, I feel this warrior queen. She comes to life and it's like, don't mess with me. There's a sword, there's a shield. Yeah, what do you want kind of thing. But last year I got another spiral prac to integrate the innocent adventure with the queen, because the kid would lead you into danger and then the queen would have to come and rescue you out of that place. And they were a bit at loggerheads. And I said, I did a parts integration on that. So they work synergistically now, which is much better than one having to clean up the other one's mess.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely I'm sitting here going, I need to have a session with you. I would love to see what your integration is like.
My cauldron, I'll tell you what the chapters are, and it gives you an indication of where it would lead you.
Okay.
So the first one is cauldron number 1 is vulnerability and surrender. And we've already chatted that unless you do make yourself, if you kind of keep everything out and you have a heart wall and you push people away, or you don't want to be hurt again, you can never really go within and start to look like that, enter that cave, the dark cave, and find out how you got there. And if you can't find out how you got there, you can't stop it from repeating, can you? Because you're doing it, you can't know what you don't know. Unconscious incompetence. So the next chapter is, how did you end up in the dark cave? So people might, from my experience of like when I taught students, you know, somebody would fall in a heap when they were on prac and they go, I said, what the hell's wrong with you? You keep running off to the loo. Oh, every time my ex rings me, I get the shits. So outside in the garden and I tap them. Even though my ex gives me the shits, I choose to release this forever, stand in my power and be unaffected by attitudes, beliefs, behaviours. And I'd clear whatever, and they'd stop running to the loo. And I'd say, so every time you take a phone call, you want to purge whatever is triggering in you. Do you see it? You know, it's like, obviously diarrhea is like purging, getting it out of your system. But then if you can see that and find out what emotion that is and clear that emotion. But I did it then with tapping. So people might say, oh, my family have had 10 years of bad luck. The librarian said that in the hospital once when I had all this. I said, no, you've unconsciously created it. Don't be stupid, you know. And I was like, you know, he's been finished at work. Kids been expelled from school. And I went, do you not realise you've all dropped to the same frequency vibration and you're mirroring each other? And unless you can't break the spell if you don't acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. If you keep saying it's that world out there that's doing this to us, we've just pulled the short straw. You go, no, you haven't pulled the short straw. You're all running some strange energy and you're locked in this kind of quantum field together. Mm-hmm. So then the next one after that is from darkness to light and owning your shit.
What was it? Darkness to light?
Darkness to light and own your shit.
Yes.
Because if you keep playing the blame game and you keep saying it's just other circumstances, yeah, there are external circumstances. But if something like I say, if I get a trajectory and the pattern keeps repeating, you know that person is unconsciously made. People get addicted to drama. They get addicted to running off adrenaline. And then they get adrenal exhaustion, burnout. Mm-hmm. So I remember doing somebody many years ago, and I flew to Melbourne and I used to kind of do a whole week of people with the problem. And I remember saying to this person, how come you've had so much stuff and you're like only 23? And she goes, I said, why do you think you've got all this drama? She goes, at least I know I'm alive. Without it, life's mundane and boring. And I went, oh, right, shit. It's like to know there's some excitement. Like activation. Yeah. So why not turn it into an excitement activation and have the internal energy that is from your very core of your being, because you're happy doing what you're doing and your heart's singing and you're going up that map of consciousness, because heart and upwards, it's like enlightenment. They've learned to hook it and anchor it to something negative. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of little case studies. There's some from like nursing, there's some from clients, but in showing and expressing that journey, people will resonate with, oh my God, I get that, that's happened to me. So then you can show people how to fast track that so that you're not waiting half your life and just thinking that life's dealt you a bad hand. It's owning it, isn't it? Like I own my conscious and unconscious creations, and I've done a lot of crazy things. I wouldn't be who I am without them.
You know, it's really when you can actually accept that and understand that piece. I remember the moment actually that I had understood this piece. I never quite did before. I was that person saying, I didn't bring this on to myself. What are you talking about? I have no idea. Why would I create this for myself? But then the second that you actually own this concept and you understand and you realize, oh, so I did create all of these situations and I have.
Well, even illness. I had a woman years ago came and she'd had bilateral mastectomy and she was hell-bent on, I have charts. I create charts for everything. And one of the negative in the archetypes, like you've got, root chakra, survival, but the negative column in that one is like victim, being the victim. Some people love being the victim. Then you've got the martyr, sacrificial lamb. I collapse all that in people. But this woman was going on, she'd had breast reconstruction. And she wanted to keep talking about every step of the journey. And I just said, stop it. Just stop it. And she brought 10 pages. And I said, I don't want to read that. She said, I want you to fucking read that. I said, I don't want to fucking read it. And she was like, I want you to know how much I've suffered. I said, but you still are creating the neuropeptides, the molecules of emotion, Candy's pert talks around, is I'm still suffering because you've added some merit to that. And if you're still suffering and they've removed the product of that, and your brain thinks there's something missing, it will reinstall that program and you'll get it somewhere else. Because if you don't, and like if you do work with people, I say, don't go into intricate detail on what you collapsed and what you got rid of, because that folder, we've cleared the hard drive. It will get reinstalled if you've had it there for 40 years, 50 years, because you are then talking about it in such detail. Abracadabra, as I speak, I create.
Yep.
Words carry that frequency, but go straight to your brain and then will either spiral you up or down. So when people keep going on about how bad that time was, and I think this woman was like, no, I want you to know how much I've suffered. I said, I don't, because that is keeping you locked into it, and that's keeping you in the brain loop. But it's also, you're never going to progress through the chakras to get to that peace, enlightenment, passion, purpose. You're never going to go up the map.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about that in the book, right? What's the next chapter that you?
The next chapter after that one is the implementation of the magical formula. So like, I don't do one thing, as you know. I kind of bring in sometimes half a dozen things, but they're all energy medicines. So I might use oils, I might use the selenite swords, I might use sound, Tibetan bells, singing bowls, whatever. I might anoint the body with oils when I'm taking somebody through spiral, and I'd use the right one for the chakras. But I might use Reiki and see something, I'm going to pull that out and like claw it out and then seal it off. So it's, somebody said to me about 3 years ago, do you know what a multi-potentialite is? And I said, no, never heard of that. Never heard of that. And I looked it up. There was a TED talk about it. And she said, because you are one. So it's when you learn a lot, but as people say, jack of all trades, master of none. You actually master that, and then you kind of put it up there in the cloud, and then again, and you might have all these bubbles. And when you are working with someone, you pull down from each, you draw down. And that's why I've created the cauldron. I weave them into a formula for that unique individual. It's like if somebody told me, about Yekko-Kutzol disease years ago, I thought, right, mad cow disease. I diagnosed the first one in the hospital. I went, don't be stupid. I went, yeah, you need the brain and spinal cord to look for prions. And they were like, what? And it was. I just knew. I kind of felt it in my body. So it's
one thing that I love about you is that you are so in tune and so connected to who you are, that there's no question ever.
Well, there isn't, but then you become ridiculed. And there's a section in my book where I talk about people in history. I think there's 5 or 6 people that were absolute genius, and they got ridiculed in history, put down by the medical profession, all the work confiscated, and they might have died an alcoholic because they were shunned and outcast. And I'm not genius like them, but I felt that, because when you are different, and I worked 15 years in palliative, they used to say, here's the witch, have you hung your broomstick up, and ridicule you, the whole shit. And it was painful. It was like, if you have more knowledge in your little finger than they are, because they'd sit doing crosswords and not be learning. And that sage part of me would gather the knowledge, and then the magician would use that to transform someone's life. And even in palliative, when I spent 5 or 6 years studying aromatherapy, doctors will look at you on night shift and say, what the hell's that? Chemistry, esters, aldehydes, ethers, ketones. I said, same functional groups as drugs, what drugs are made from, but this is nature. And they were like, oh, we don't even know that. I said, yeah, I know that. Mm-hmm. So now, with what's happening in the illness in the world, we won't call it what it is, I've got dozens of giant bottles of herbal formulas that you could fix anything with. I know the equivalent in drugs. And so, you know, I know that wormwood, artemisia, sweet artemisia, the same as ivermectin. Quercetin, which is a supplement, that's the same as hydroxychloroquine. I would know, and that quercetin would transport zinc because it's like a Uber, takes it into the DNA. People are going, what?
See, this is why at some point, I feel like I need to come visit you and see you in person, because I feel like you are this like alchemist as well. Like you definitely.
Well, that's the second title. The subtitle is An Alchemist's Guide to Transformation and Empowerment, the book.
That's right. It is. I totally forgot about that. But that is who you are. And so you bring in all of this knowledge and wisdom, and just like what you said, like you've mastered so much. I feel like, have we talked about this, that you have like a photographic memory or something? Because
I do have a photographic memory, but it's parts of it also. Remember, if I'm working with people, often the ancestors drop in. I used to invite them. I don't need to know. I've got a room full of people. I'll go, oh, such a body wants to know, why are you doing that? Why are you still with that person that's crucifying you in your life? You know, like there'll be lots of relatives there that have passed. But when I look back, I think a lot of my knowledge also is I think I was a healer and a herbalist and did a lot of stuff like that. So I've seen images of this stuff, and I think it's bringing through ancient knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I love that you even just brought in the ancestors, you know?
Yeah.
Would you mind going into all of that?
When people say, you know, the universe has you back, I think it's actually your family, your lineage. And I've done a lot of work with people with lineage, and I've had people with illnesses that have come down the line that would be genetic, but when the parents are tested, I mean, it could skip to generation. But also, if you then look at, there's three things I always check with any illness, and I do really complex formulas for illness where they've seen every doctor under the sun, and then they come to me last in line and they go, all right, what we're going to do about this? I could arrest something. I've worked with people with cancer. I can't stop that, but I'd love to have the Rife machine, which Raymond Royal Rife, he's in the book. He created a machine in the 50s. Yep. And by frequency, he could blast cancer cells, the membrane, and there was stage 4. I need to have a box by the bed. And he kept in all this knowledge and all this research. And he got 2 doctors working with him. They got paid off. And then he died, and alcoholic, they confiscated. And I thought, that's my next purchase. I've got infrared song. I'm like Mary Poppins with all these things that I use. But really, frequency is everything. Every word has a frequency. Frequency of your heart, the blood, bones, organs. And if it goes out of resonance, then you get some illness. And I actually can I do 24 area of the brain clear, and I check if the vagus nerve is, the dorsal vagus nerve might be like 150, and your parasympathetic might be like 10%, and you cannot switch back. So I'll reset that.
That's amazing.
I just kind of I get downloads of, I should do such and such a thing. And then I'll write everything about an organ, and I might check every facet of the heart, you know, the aorta. Is that valve working? Have they got leakage? And I'm muscle testing, and it's like, you reset. I can't restructure things like that, but I can certainly make something work to its maximum functionality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've witnessed you do it.
And that's why I do weird and wonderful, because it's like, if you say, when people talk emotional vocabulary, I can't stomach any more of this. I've got too much on my plate. Where are they storing everything? Stomach meridian. They might have digestive issues. They might have reflux. They might even have H. pylori. And if you don't get rid of that, that can lead to gastric cancer. So it's like homing in on what that person's telling you without them realizing it. Mm-hmm. My aching heart. It makes me sick to my stomach. They're telling you.
The phrases are saying what's happening.
Yeah.
So Sarah is saying that she's asking, well, she said she'd love to hear more about your brain clears, but I'm curious if they're in the book, if you go into brain clearing, because I know that's such a big piece of your work and like who you are. So do you talk about anything like that in the book?
In the book, I talk about, and there's a big glossary, everything I've discussed, like I have here, what I see in a person, right? That's the back view, right? And I've written what it means, and then the front view. So when people have a band over here, the third eye, it's like they've got something that stops them being discerning. It's almost like they've been gaslit. Energetically, remember we talked about energetic defense systems. So if people were being bombarded and they did some protection to protect that, but then if you shut down your intuitive, your third eye, which is your pineal gland, then you can't be discerning on like what is real and what am I imagining or whatever. Now that's the front one. And with that one, they've got shackles around their ankles. They've got a band stopping them moving forward. Hips and knees are always about moving forward. And, you know, the band around your power, your solar plexus, it's like you've got body armor there. But then that's to keep things out. But in doing that, you stop it both ways. So if you have a heart wall, you should be open to giving and receiving. But if you can only give, and you've got a heart wall to stop you being hurt, you can never receive and fill up your tank. You're going to get drained by it. And everybody wants you to fix them, you know, from the heart, but you're never going to get it back. You're never going to be fulfilled. So it's like after, like in the back, I do a big glossary. I do explain some things that might be, I give examples of what would happen in a session. And I explain conscious awareness of your thoughts, conscious awareness of your words, emotional factors. How do you keep your vibe high? How do vibrant people stay there? I explain all that.
And stay there. That's the thing.
Look, if you never had ups and downs, you'd be grinning like a moron, wandering around like there's nobody home. So some things are meant to activate you that you might need to go into that cave, the dark cave. How did you get in that dark cave? How did you get out of it? But then when you've collapsed and cleared patterns, I look for repeating patterns, then you've got to reinvent the you. Yes. Because if you don't, you go through all these ego deaths and you might then go, oh my God, I don't know who I am anymore. You've attached so much, like when people finish work or retire or they lose a job. I'm nothing without that job. Well, you're everything without that job. You are not your job. But if you've attached your strong identity to that and that company closed down, and then they go, I say, use it as an opportunity. Map out all your skills, do a brain dump, and then say, how can I turn that into something I choose to do? Not something I've fallen into by default. My dad made me be a draftsman and I really wanted to be an artist.
Yes. This is when you follow that soul, right? You follow the soul fire, that passion. Your
heart and your soul are the ones that are going to guide you to where you need to be. But it takes courage to drop away all the things you thought you were, which really you were just filling roles in. And you have never become in your authenticity. And that's what my journey is about. If you journey in the book and start to like look at ways of things that are being shown to you, you can drop into be your truly authentic self and be in your genius and be empowered. Everybody's got it within them. But they go to they go to the grave with all these regrets on the deathbed saying, if only I'd have done this. I wished I'd have done that. I wanted to visit Niagara Falls, but then when I retired, I was too busy working. And then when I retired, I got into the grandchildren and I never did anything for me. The biggest regrets are the things that you never did, not the ones that you did that went pear-shaped, because that was just an experience. I mean, how many people have had, like Branson, I think he's had several companies and gone bump and come back. But it's not about getting it wrong. It's about doing something rather than sitting frozen and being frightened of making a mistake.
Mm-hmm. I would love to know, how did you choose that title, The Journey to Magnificence?
I can't remember. It's like, I kind of sat in my sauna and I'm thinking, what will I call it? And I would brainstorm but then even when I work with a client, I muscle test each word to see how charged that word is out of 100%. And if it's off, like when I test if I'm going to work with somebody and I think, oh, that's only like 50, I get it to 400%. And I think, shit, that's going to blast that thing off the planet. There'll be no little breadcrumbs left of that, no little hooks, nothing left. It's like I do everything and I want it blown off the radar. So I would have muscle tested. It's like, what have you become? This book changed me forever. And I felt I could cry at nothing when I think at the end. It's like made me extremely open and vulnerable, but it's made me strong and powerful at the same time. And it's like they're not vying for positions. It's like all the facets of you inside have come outside. And it's
in this material.
It is a journey. Life's a journey. So that's how I got that one. But then I thought, what can it do for others? In the book, I said, how can I package all the stuff and all my heroes, Jenny's and Dark Nights and so on, and all the things I did that felt very, very wrong and then turned out to give you massive knowledge on something. How can I use this? It was doing my head. I mean, so much stuff in here to help others. And the only way I could do it was to do the book.
I'm so excited.
Like a treasure map. What can be your treasure map to your gold? Yes. And everybody's got their own. And it's not one size doesn't fit everybody, but there'll be little parts of it you think, yeah, I get that. And other parts go, no, that doesn't. Then you're not, oh my God, that really is my story. I mean, I'd be stood outside years ago going to see John D. Martini and somebody said, what do you do apart from this? And I said, I transform people's lives by getting rid of all the stuff that they're running and like the patterns that they repeat. She said, what the hell does that mean? And I made up a story and I do this to people on the phone. And this woman slid down the wall and said, how did you know? That's my story. I said, I made it up. I made up that supposing you'd had 3 partners in life and they all cheated on you and took you to the cleaners and took your money and emptied your bank accounts. And this woman said, that's my story. She came a week later to see me and she said there was a guy currently that she was trying to get out of her life. It was quite a few years back, 4 or 5 years back. And she said he was trying to take all the super in the house off her and he was filthy rich. And I just said, but then if you've repeated that pattern, you've put out that I am a walkover, I've got no boundaries, I'm a doormat, you can do what you want with me and I can trample all over you. And you have put that frequency out. So we need to collapse that, get that out, and then put you in your power. And then the biggest thing about boundaries is learning to say no, and not in a nasty way, but, you know, say you always were the doormat and you did all these charitable markets and you never had time to nurture you. And you said, I'm not doing that this week. And this one said, but you've always done it. Guilt. If you put guilt on someone, there's 2 types of guilt. One is they'll make you do something you don't want to do. And you say, no, I'm going to have a pamper weekend and have a massage and sit by the beach because I deserve it. They're going to be that shocked that you've actually said what you truly want to do. You're speaking your truth. You're in your authenticity. And that's what this journey does.
Puts you in your magnificence.
Yeah, it's not pussyfooting and people pleasing, which I used to do all of that. Mm-hmm. I was the best nurse, the best wife, the best mum, and nothing to me. And I woke up one day and thought, hang on, I don't figure in this world, but it's me that's made it that way. Mm-hmm. What can I do? So I started doing things for me, like training was a big one, but also going off having weekends where you got massaged and Reiki and all different things, and you mix with like-minded souls. That's the big thing, having a tribe. And that's been really hard in the last 2 years because I'm a people person. I like people to come, and if I do teaching, I'll laugh and go and be really silly like that kid.
I can see that.
She asked to party this weekend because I said, I think I'm going to wear 3 or 4 different outfits. And we said, what? Yeah, I'm going to dress. I want people to come dressed as archetypes. I've got a flapper dress, and I've just bought the band with the feather.
Oh, I love this. Okay. So let's talk about what's happening this weekend, because we have about 5 minutes. So let's talk about what's going on this weekend. What do you have planned for this release and this big party?
Right. So there's like a couple of hours. My time will be 11 o'clock, which is 6 p.m. your time. And Dane's coming, Dane Thomas. And I've asked him, would he do something like poetry? I'd like him to rap. I don't know if he will, but I'd like him to do something. He said, yeah, poetry.
He rapped for us and he was really good. He's quite
I know that. But he's got that low energy at the moment, not feeling 100%. Yeah. And he said, yeah, we'll do that. I said, I want people to come. I've got a few friends coming around and dress up. She said, I'll come as Carla. She's bought blue paint. I went, how are you going to do the arms? You'll have to cut jumpers up and put wire through. I don't know. It's going to be a bit crazy, but I want people to have a dress up. Now, one lady in Canberra, she came on the other day and she showed me this crown with all crystals, and she's been a queen,
Oh, very cool.
And I said, bring food and drink and celebrate, party.
Okay, so how long is the event going to be?
Well, I'm hoping for that. There'll be 2 hours probably for that 11 o'clock one. Then I'll do another one in the evening, 7 o'clock my time, which is 9 o'clock in England. So another spiral practitioner, Ruth. I don't know if you knew Ruth.
I do know Ruth.
Could say. Mm-hmm. She interviewed me last night, and she's going to get her people to come online with that one in England. But I mean, it'll be middle of the night for you, that one, won't it? I think.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, but I would like it to be fun, frivolity, light-hearted.
I can't imagine it being anything less with you. So is this it's on Facebook? Is that right?
Yeah, it's on Facebook. There's Facebook. 2 Facebook links, and I can share them again afterwards. There's like the morning one and the evening one. I think I'll put something on midway between them times. Justin did some stuff for me, Justin Lodge, and so I'll probably stream that. So it'll be different and lively and a bit crazy, and it needs to be get rid of all the seriousness from the last 2 years, because I've had my head down and researching everything. I thought, so I just want to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it is. It's going to be really fun. It sounds like it's an incredible time. So if anybody would like to join, we'll definitely be putting the links here. And if
they put the name in the VIP group, I'm giving 4 things away, 4 clears. I'm doing a manifestation clear, a sigil for something they want, a chakra to chakra, and a person clear.
Ooh, okay.
And if people, what they need to do, if they buy it online and show the receipt, they go in the draw to win it, one of them 4 things.
Okay, so there's a few things. You just threw all this out, and this is exciting, people. I want you all to know what she just said is exciting. So first of all, when is the book available to purchase to be part of the drawing?
Not until I'll only get the link. Possibly like the day before, and then that link will be on the live, and there'll be like little pointy hands like by here, 99 cents for a short time. Yeah,
99 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, this is huge. 99 cents. Okay, I'm telling every single person who's in this group and is watching this. I think I'm going to post this also on my regular timeline. So every single person who is seeing this, I am telling you right now, you want what's in Pat's head. You want what's in her head. Anything that she delivers, or the fact that she has something that's in an actual book that you can go back to over and over and over again is huge. And for you to say 99 cents, that's insane.
There's the
because
witch.
your knowledge, like to work with you, like you've worked with people all over the world. So to have that is amazing. Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is so you said it's drawings for a money clear. So a money clear, I'm telling you.
I didn't do a money clear. I said,
oh, what was it?
Person clear, a manifestation, a sigil, and a chakra to chakra. And I've explained that in the group that chakra to chakra is if someone's triggering you, you've got quantum entanglement, I change that. If you want, the manifestation one is the first pull. That's for anything you want to achieve in your life. A person clear is attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. And so a sigil, if you want something to happen. I sold 2 houses, 2.2 million, just with a sigil for people.
Yeah.
It's charged. It's very charged.
Yes. Very powerful things. Any of these things will change your life. I'm telling you right now. So everybody wants to be part of this. Just going to say, I had no idea you were giving away things. So
yeah.
this
and really,
huge.
if people can do it in that 2-hour window, it's the algorithm. It can get me to be bestseller in US. If they do it in England, it can get me to be bestseller there, and then one in Australia. And I want this to be a legacy for people. Don't wait till retirement or whatever, or halfway through your life where you start becoming the true authentic you. Find out now how you can start doing minor things and changes and stepping into who you were born to be. That's the thing for me. It's like you're living like a shell of yourself, or who the world wants you to be, or who work wants you to be, or who your partner wants you to be, and just be who you were born to be.
Yes. Everybody needs to be who they are. Like the world needs that out of every single person, of just being who you're supposed, what you're here to be. It sounds so simple, yet it's so hard. And so
it's frightening though. It's frightening to let go of who you've modeled, or like how many facades, how many masks do you take off? I mean, people, simple, isn't it? If somebody's a CEO or female and they go home and then they don't take that power thing off, how can they be the queen in the bedroom and the man be your king? He's going to be diminished and demeaned because you're this powerful CEO. And if you can't let go of that, that interacts with your love life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. So, okay. Well, I am so excited for this. This sounds funny, but I'm so proud of you because I've literally, witnessed this journey from when you were first starting to, because you've talked about this for a little bit.
I did.
Yeah. You're just saying, I need to get this into, like, I remember you saying that one-on-one is powerful, right? It's powerful to work with you one-on-one and to talk with you one-on-one, speak with you. But that is so limiting, right? With everything.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like for you to have something in a book form, this is huge. This is so huge. And
it's interesting. Yeah. When I talked with Dave Thompson at Inspired Book Writers, I said, I didn't do it with this in mind, but it would be a perfect book for spiral practice, or anyone who questions current paradigms and things are not what they seem, and you want to delve any medical person, nurses, doctors, integrative medicine people who really want to learn more about what you wouldn't learn in medical school and things like that. And it's like any practitioner who's going to do any health things, if you can learn the hidden determinants that you don't know about, you're gonna be a lot more powerful for your clients when you know what's running the show subconsciously.
Yeah. Well, I think every single person needs this book in their lives, especially if you are in the medical field, or, I mean, that's what I love about
coaching
as well. Yes. All of it, honestly. And also just if you're in a place, like, let's say you're in the dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
This is perfect if you are in a dark night of the soul time in your life, or even if you don't know anything about anything, like you're just like, I don't know what
it's for anybody really
about. It will be, I know that this will be a huge benefit to your life.
I think what people need to realize is just because you're going through a lot of bad stuff. You're not broken. You are not broken.
Yeah.
It's there because it's been bubbling up. You might have kept you use a lot of energy. Oh, you'll have to keep it pushed down. And one day you just can't, and it comes up. And it's there. It is actually your gold from that deep mud in the cave. And it's like you can't push it down anymore. You've got no energy, no reserve. And that is when you then work with that and embrace and own it and then come through on top, you transform forever.
Yes. And that's the piece that, you know, I've gone through enough of this in my life already that I sit here and go, okay, so this is happening right now. I can't wait to see what's on the other side.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there's always like,
but you were already primed to know that it's a process and a journey, whereas most people think, oh my God, if this is my life, I can't live like this.
Yeah.
That's the difference between when you've done coaching and work and learn stuff, whereas others think, oh my God, if I've got to be like this forever, I just can't do it. And that's the fine line when you go into the dark cave of some people don't come out, some might choose not to stay around. And then when you do come out, you think, oh my God, I feel like that statue in Brazil, I'm reborn. Even though I went through hell for 10 years or whatever it was, it's embracing that was for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I love this. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we close out? Because
any questions unanswered? Did anybody ask anything that they didn't get answered?
Look, I forgot we had people down here. Let's see. So Amber Pendleton, she's saying, yep, testament to that right there. So it's I don't know which we were talking about at that time. Sarah Hoffman is saying powerful. Sarah Hoffman remembers the exact moment that she also was able to have, grasp onto that concept of we're weaving our own demise in a way. Like you
like weaving your tapestry of life, aren't you?
Yes. People would like to know about brain clears. They're excited to read the book. Kristen Atkins is saying, she says, some of us are halfway through our lives, but it's never too late. Which
never
I love
too
that.
late.
It's never too late. Even on your, at the end of your life, it's still never too late.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It's like when I saw people like in palliative, they kind of said, I'll never forgive my brother till the day I die. And they're on the deathbed. You think, oh, it's like that hell-bent, punishing, dogmatic principles.
Mm-hmm.
And some people would die a really horrible death because they could never letting go, lung, large intestine, hanging on to shit you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
And they played that out till the last breath. And that's not a way to be, is it?
I don't think that's how we were meant to live this life.
No.
I think, you and I are very like-minded in this way of like live life to the fullest, like embrace all of these pieces of you. And I love that part about this book. We didn't even get to it really, but I think people can understand that this book, The Journey to Magnificence, is really just knowing ourselves, loving ourselves, accepting all of us, the shadow, the light, all
it
of
is. That. You can't have one without the other. And if people think, old kind of new age thing used to say, just be in your light. That is ridiculous because there's half of you missing. And it's like you have to embrace the good, the bad, the ugly, every bit of you, every facet of you. You go, well, if I was running a hospital and people were really difficult and the patients were suffering, I'd have to put on the pressure and say, I need you to move from sitting in this tea room, have tea and toast to go to ED and help with this 13. I don't move from here. Right, I'll sign you off on unpaid leave. I had to step in and be the manager, and it's like, I could be a bitch when I had to be. I didn't like it. But then I thought, no, if there's 13 ambulances at the door and people suffering and they're paid to work anywhere in this hospital, I'd have to stand my ground and go, right, you either go there or go home.
Mm-hmm.
Quivering in my boots when I did it, mind you. But,
but you survived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am so excited. We'll definitely be dropping in all the links into this group. Pat, I know that even you, like, please drop all the links into the group. Let us know what's
Okay.
going on so that we can be part of it, because I'm telling you, 99 cents, people, 99 cents. And then, getting
It'll probably be for like a couple of days that, then it'll go whatever they do on Amazon, but they've got this. If you can do like that introductory, it gives people a taste of who you are, doesn't it?
Yeah. Plus, anybody who's into a theme, anything, like, show up, like, let's show up as, our archetypes. Like, who do you want to be? This is why I like Halloween. I like dressing up for Halloween because
I always create one at the end of Spiral for people. I ask them all the traits of things they'd like to be and make their own. Don't just say, I want to be like that. I said, no, you choose a few from that person and you make your own formula of who would you ideally love to be? What would you like to do that you can't do now? And what's missing? And I make that archetype from.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. Yeah, you are the queen of archetypes. I love it. Okay.
That's why I like dressing up. That's why I like dressing up.
I love it. It's so good. You're such a good example for people with this, and to just lighten up and have fun. And also, this is being archetypes are like, that's who we pull in, right? That's how we become empowered. And it's just, I love it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. We'll be dropping all the links here into the group so that anyone and everyone can be part of it. If you have any questions, please put the questions in the comments below. And I'm sure Pat will be in here to answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love answering questions.
Mm-hmm.
An outlet for that brain.
Yeah. And, I mean, ask all the questions because you have all the answers. And I love it because it's not even just like one-liners. It's like you go deep into your answers. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for sharing your time with us and for telling us about all the good stuff that's coming your way. I'm excited to watch it and to attend. I'll definitely be there. So
cool.
Okay.
Great. Can't wait to see you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah. Have a great day. Okay. Bye.
You too.
And live your life to